Okay, the resolution might look a bit off on the video because I'm not actually capturing what I see. I'm capturing like a secondary output to my screen, which is a low resolution, so it's being scaled. So if it looks a little bit off, that's the reason. I'll just park up over here. Okay. Goodbye, everybody. Let them go. Right. Okay, so imagine I'm racing down there. So, oops, stood on accelerator. So normally, imagine you go into the pits. You're racing around and you go into the pits for some reason because you're damaged or whatever. It doesn't really matter. What will happen is the game will fix your damage and it will fuel you up to the brim. So there's 39.8 litres of fuel in this car at the moment, but it holds something like, it holds a lot. It holds something like 60. I might be wrong. No, more than that, I think. Doesn't matter, but the point is, the game on default will fix all your damage, fuel you to the top, but it will not change your tyres. Okay, so on the default setting, it won't change your tyres. It could be chucking it down. It won't change your tyres. Okay. Which is obviously of no good. Obviously of no use. Yes. So, imagine we're driving around and it starts to rain. So, what do we do? Well, I want to come in for wet tyres. So, on my menu, I can open a menu while I'm driving. So, I'm driving still. Go down to, you can request a pit stop, or I can go down to race strategy. So I'm obviously pick a nice long straight to do this because I'm still driving along at the same time. So go to race strategy, click right, go to select strategy, which is the one it's on there. Select strategy, click right, and then I've got strategies to choose from. So I want some wet tyres. It's starting to rain. I want some wet tyres. I literally go to wet T, which is wet tyres, 20L, which is 20 litres of fuel. Okay, so I want wet tyres and 20 litres of fuel. I select that, he says. Dink, there we go. And it puts a tick into it. And what that means is next time I go into the pits, that's what it's going to do. It's going to give me wet tyres on and 20 litres of fuel. So then I come out the pits, I drive around a bit, I don't have any accidents, and the rain stops and it all starts to dry up. How cool is that? Ooh, look at that. The joy of VR, you see, I can just look out the window. Anyway. Oh, and your menu times out. Let's go back. Right, so I'm in race strategy. So I've put wet tyres on, I've gone back out, and then it's drying up. I need dry tyres, so I go to back into race strategy, dry tyres, select that instead. Next time I come in the pits, that's what I get. I get dry tyres and 20 litres of fuel in that one. Or my car's damaged, badly enough that I need to get it fixed, but I don't need new tyres and I don't need any more fuel. So I go to this one called all damage, select that, and all damage means just fix the damage. Don't do anything else. And this is where all the time is lost, sitting in the pits for 2 hours while somebody greases your wheels, rather than just putting some fuel in and off you go. And then a bit further down there's wet dam fuel, which means wet tyres fix the damage and give me fuel, basically do everything, and then dry damage fuel, so the same thing but with dry tyres. So all of these you select while you're driving around, okay? So if I go back, close, right, so we're driving around in the race, he says, and obviously this would be a bad time to do it, so I won't do it here. So we're coming in, my tyres have gone cold sitting there, this will be funny. Oh, it's slipping. So through Eau Rouge, and then you think, right, I've got some time on my hands now. Open the menu, down to strategy, down to select strategy. I need wet tyres, done. I'm done. And then around here, and away you go. And I can ignore that menu because it will time out and it will just close itself down, but my strategy is set for next time I go in the pits. Okay, and then if I go back one, forget the fact that I'm not driving right now. Let's go over here out of the way. Stop. Right. So, you can go request pit stop. There we go. Up there, comes up, set on my screen, says pit in. Next time I pit in, they will change the tyres and give me 20 litres of fuel. So the obvious question is, where do those race strategies come from? I'll now show you how you set those strategies up. Okay. So, you get onto this screen where you start the game up. And you click start, obviously. So you start the race to go into the race, and you probably join my race to go into the race. And then you will end up on... Wait for it. This screen. And on this screen, you probably just click start normally. Okay. So, but instead of clicking start, you click edit setup. And in edit setup, you can see there's 40 litres of fuel going in your car, or in this particular car, just to be clear. This is all car specific. So it's set up by default to start me with 40 litres of fuel. And one thing, if I go into advanced setup, is tyres. So the pressure on the tyres is 21.66. So that's about 1.5 bar. Okay, now what happens is, luckily the game, because I've loaded into this game, into this car, into this race, the game will remember when I go to set up any custom strategies what car I'm in. So it will actually carry forward my tyre pressures into the setup. So we don't worry about that. So I'll just click done. I won't do anything now. There's a button right at the bottom that says pit strategy. So this is before you start the race, okay? You haven't clicked start, we go pit strategy. And in here, you'll see, you should probably recognize these now. And I basically set these up to test how it all works, but here's how you do it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to boil these down to like the simplest ones after this video when I figure it all out. And I'll basically tell you what to put in here if you want me to. So, if I go new pit strategy and call it something, we'll call it that for now, because I can't see what I'm doing in VR, so I just type something random. Create. So I'm creating a new strategy, okay? Now you see this big number here, pit stop estimate. That's because at the moment it's estimating that on it has to do everything and you have broken everything. So don't worry about that big number. But if you broke your entire car and you needed fuel and tyres, you would be there a long time. So, go into fuel and tyres. You would go into fuel and tyres if I knew how to select it. Ooh, I can do it with my mouse. That's interesting. Right, fuel and tyres. So what you say is, on this particular strategy, which might be, let's say it's a wet weather strategy, I don't want you to put in any fuel. So you just remove all the fuel, and that number went down because it doesn't have to put fuel in. And then you say change tyres. Now you can put recommended. Don't do that. The game does not recommend the right things. You can change the front, you can change the rear, or you can change all. So I would change all without a doubt. And then what we want is wet tyres. So you see here it says soft slicks. You just go wet. And they all change to wet. And the pressures are 1.5, which, as I pointed out earlier, is roughly this pounds per square inch that's set up at the beginning. You can tweak this to your heart's content. You can literally say, I want this to be 1.55 just on the front left, but I would not get into any of that because I do not understand it. So what I've said here is don't put any fuel in, give me wet tyres. And then the next one down is damage. So if I go to damage, it's saying if I come in with damage anywhere, fix it. But I don't, all I want this strategy to do is change my tyres. So I'll say no, 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 no. And as you can see, it's now down to 15.7 seconds because that's how long the game's estimating it will take to change the 4 tyres. Seems slow in Grand Prix terms, but GT3s don't work like Grand Prix cars. And I think there's just 2 guys that have to run around all the wheels. Anyway, whatever. So as you can see, fuel 0, damage 0, tyres. So all this is going to do is change my tyres for wet weather tyres. And then I just click save. Done. And then I've got... Did I do that? Oh yeah, back. So I now still have all those strategies I was mucking about with earlier, and now there's this other one here, this weird one. There's also the default, which is still there. I leave the default ticked just because that's the strategy that the game starts your race on, and I want to let the game figure it out for me because I don't really understand it. So now there's that strategy. So in the game, I'll be racing around, and I can literally choose GH, JFC, go into the pits, and all it will do is give me wet tyres, and it won't do anything. It doesn't matter if my bumper's hanging off, it won't touch it. It won't give me any fuel, even if I've only got 1 litre left. It'll do nothing for me because I've told it not to. And that's where the trick of pit strategies come in. Trying to figure out before the race has started what you would need for that race, assuming you don't crash. Because when I say wet tyres and 20 litres of fuel, it's going to give me wet tyres and 20 litres of fuel. And if I choose that either by mistake or 1 lap in and our car's still full of fuel, it's going to give me another 20 litres of fuel because I've told it to do so. Unless my tank is full, and it can't, it will give me 20 litres of fuel. So when you so then 10 laps later, if you came in for a proper pit stop, it'll give me another 20 litres of fuel because I've told it to. So you could go mad and have 30 strategies for every eventuality, but you'd drive yourself crackers and you'd probably crash your car trying to find the right one and remember what they all were. So the bit I haven't quite worked out yet is what a good set of strategies looks like. And that's the trick. But you see, the nuts and bolts of it is quite simple. I hope that makes sense. I wonder when they're going to finish the roof. Spa looks cool, doesn't it? It's just so cool. Hope that helps. I'm sure you'll have questions. These strategies will need honing or figuring out, and will quite happily figure them out and then tell everyone what I've come up with. Yeah. Bye.